All right, what's going on, everybody? Broken Games HDR here. And in this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Call of Duty Modern Warfare campaign. The reason I am not reviewing the multiplayer is because realism, 2v2, and ground war are the only modes that I really enjoyed online. So I can't give you a comprehensive review because the rest of the modes, in my opinion, are unplayable and just not enjoyable, due in large part because of the map design. So let's talk about the single player. So Call of Duty Modern Warfare serves as a soft reboot and like a spiritual prequel to the Modern Warfare from 2007. This is a great story and narrative, not only because of the overall plot, but because it focuses on character development. Oftentimes, the Call of Duty story gets convoluted because it dives too deep into every aspect and detail of military operations, but this game finds a good middle ground. It's a straightforward, easy to follow plot with enough depth to enrich the story. It creates a foundation and an origin for some fan favorite characters and introduces new grounded and relatable characters. The performances and voice acting by all the characters is impressive, convincing, and really brings them to life well. The game is short, but every level feels necessary and contributes to furthering the story. There aren't any wasted moments, and the game is designed to be this nice, tight package. There is no fluff or pointless moments that exist just to force the game to be longer. Even the pacing is much better than I expected it to be in a Call of Duty game. There are levels that are slower with meaningful dialogue, and even the faster paced action-filled levels don't just have you shooting for 20 minutes straight. I enjoyed everything about the story because it was simple, effective, and it included Easter eggs and references to the original game, which served as great fan service. This is the best gameplay in any modern era Call of Duty game. For a long time, Activision and whichever developer was making the game that year always boasted about major gameplay improvements year in and year out, but 9 times out of 10, they turned out to be marginal enhancements that somebody could easily overlook, especially compared to the contemporary shooters that were being released at the same time of Call of Duty. The way the guns perform with improved recoil, ballistics, and especially the sound design is very impressive. The gun sounds are authentic and vigorous, as well as the game's general audio. The animations are smooth and physics are a pretty good standard. There is dismemberment when you use high-powered weapons, and enemies react according to where they are shot instead of canned animations. The hardest difficulties are veteran and realistic. Realistic is the same difficulty as veteran, except with no HUD for a more immersive experience. Over the years, the Call of Duty franchise has lightened up on difficulty, so veteran is more like hardened now. So trust me, don't be afraid to play on veteran the first try. It'll be a lot easier than you probably expect. As previously mentioned, the game is short, rounding out to be about 5 hours across 14 missions. What's great about the campaign is it explores unique gameplay sequences and mechanics that you haven't seen before or don't see often in Call of Duty. This stops the fatigue that some players experience after shooting through waves of enemies every level. Also, Call of Duty in the modern era has never been known for its realism or authenticity. It's renowned for being very arcade, and some even criticize it because it makes light of war, killing, and death. I'm not a part of the demographic that cares about that or is bothered by that. But I will say that this game did a great job at humanizing all of the characters and adding a little emotional weight for those who care about that type of thing. Now, I would never say that this Call of Duty is anywhere close to being an actual first-person shooter simulator like Insurgency or Escape from Tarkov, but it has moved away from the very end of the arcade spectrum. An example, there are some night levels where your team is clearing a house with civilians, hostages, or what you think are civilians or hostages in a close quarter situation, with tight corridors, hallways, doors, and plenty of windows. In these scenarios, your team moves tactically and strategically through the house, slowly opening doors, watching each corner, and making accurate shots at each encounter. This added an element of the game that has not really been in the franchise exactly like this. You may find similar encounters in previous games, but you could still handle those encounters pretty recklessly and get away with it. It was very clear that they had a military expert advise and choreograph these sequences for accuracy. Situations like this throughout the game are where the mount and the lean mechanic become very useful. Occasionally, I did wish the lean was a function that you could use freely at any time instead of only being at designated cover, but it still helps to have it there. There are also some dialogue choices and there are some action choices that you can choose, and they may or may not have any real effect on the game, but it was still interesting to see them appear. I played Modern Warfare at 4K with ray tracing and HDR on, and I was able to maintain close to 60 for most of the game. But unfortunately, because you can't record with shadow play and HDR on, I was not able to play through the whole game with HDR, but I did take a good look at it, and it is good, pretty good HDR implementation. I do still stand on my belief that ray tracing is a little bit overrated for what it demands, but it definitely improves a game's visuals, and it definitely makes Modern Warfare look better, because this is a gorgeous game. The presentation is beautiful. This is by far the best looking Call of Duty game, and none of the rest come close. Year after year, Call of Duty games would look virtually the same for a long time with minimal visual improvements. This is clearly the biggest visual jump. I never thought I would say a Call of Duty game belongs in the top 20, maybe top 15 visually impressive games of the generation, but this one is. The lighting, the environment, character, and gun models are very beautifully detailed. The biggest problem I encountered with the game were technical issues like stuttering during gameplay and complete freezing during the CGI cutscenes. So hopefully they release a patch for that, because that seems to be a very widespread issue based on what I researched. The option menu has a lot of choices to tailor your experience, but what I couldn't find out is how to disable the online friend notifications that would not stop popping up while I was playing the campaign. While you're watching the gameplay of my review, you'll probably see on the right side of the screen, it's saying some people are logging on to Call of Duty and, updating you on their status. I couldn't figure out how to turn it off. I assume that there's an option, but I asked around, I looked it up, and I actually couldn't find anything about it. But I assume there has to be a way to turn it off. I just couldn't figure it out. And I don't even know why that notification setting would be on by default, or why somebody would really even want to know that while they're playing the campaign. But those were the few annoyances that I ran into. Now for my verdict. Call of Duty Modern Warfare is a top 5 Call of Duty campaign. This game could have been a little longer, but I'd rather them keep everything meaningful than to do anything unnecessary to pad the playtime. If you want to play the game only for the campaign, you'll have to decide if it's worth it by weighing both the runtime, which is short, and also the quality of the game, which is high. I enjoy all the aspects of the campaign a lot, and I'm someone who almost never replays campaigns, but I like this one so much that I actually thought about it. I didn't do it, and I'm not going to do it, but the fact that I actually thought about replaying it means a lot coming from me. So with that said, I give Call of Duty Modern Warfare a 9 out of 10. That's my review. Thank you all for watching. Appreciate you. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe if you're not, and also make sure you hit the notification bell to know anytime that I upload a video. All right, I'll check y'all next time. I'm out of here. Peace.